What is the last thing that you do before going to bed at night? If the answer is you look at your mobile screen and scroll through a host of notifications and content, this video is definitely for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Shashanka Dhanuka. I'm a consultant urologist, a surgeon who makes videos on health-related topics as well as about living life better. Looking at the mobile screen is one of the most common problems that leads to a host of complications in the mindset of people. On asking this question, 9 out of 10 people replied that the last thing that they do in bed before going off to sleep is scroll through their mobile screen. Various studies have shown that looking at the mobile screen, or any other screen for that matter, causes a host of problems with your brain. Number one, you're loading your brain with a lot of information at a time when it is supposed to go to sleep. On the one hand, you want your mind to go to sleep, and on the other hand, you're offering it a lot of information to process. The second thing is the impact of light on something happening at a much deeper level in the brain. Let's take a closer look at what goes on in the brain when we go to sleep. So, there's a tiny little part in the brain known as the pineal gland. This part of the brain has been also called the seat of the soul by René Descartes. Very rightly so. It is responsible for managing the circadian rhythm of the human body, and it secretes a very important hormone known as melatonin. Melatonin is both a hormone as well as a cell protector. It has various functions, one of the most important being maintaining our circadian rhythm, that is, how our body's physiology is adapted to the 24-hour day and night cycle. Melatonin secretion only occurs in darkness. The exposure to the light coming from the screens, whether it's a mobile phone, a tablet, or even a television screen, suppresses the secretion of melatonin from the pineal gland. This is detrimental in a number of ways. Firstly, the quality of sleep is definitely disturbed. I see a lot of people complaining about inadequate sleep, poor quality of sleep, rising levels of anxiety and depression. All of these have been linked to a decrease in their levels of melatonin. Youngsters more often complain of this problem, and this is directly linked to their increased usage of mobile phones before going to sleep. The blue light coming from the screens of the gadgets that we use have been the reason why melatonin gets decreased. Blue light coming from our mobile screens contribute the maximum stimulus to decreasing the melatonin levels. While most modern phones have a blue light filter which gets activated on its own during the evening hours, the reality is this does not help much. The exposure to any form of light, and especially at a near field close to the eyes just before going to bed, causes a dramatic decrease in the melatonin levels, and this leads to poor sleep and all its consequent complications. Another important function of melatonin is to regulate metabolism in the body. Melatonin is known to control the daytime insulin sensitivity in our body. In other words, a decreased melatonin level would lead to a rise in the insulin resistance in the body. This would lead to problems like the development of diabetes as well as weight gain. So people who are not able to sleep well, who night after night struggle with getting a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep, tend to eat more and tend to put on more weight and tend to develop diabetes more than the average population. All of this data is backed by tremendous research. To put things into perspective, melatonin was discovered by a scientist named Axelrod. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology of Medicine in 1970 for his work on the pineal gland and melatonin. And as recently as 2017, 3 doctors who studied the role of melatonin as well as the control of the circadian rhythm in the human brain were awarded a Nobel Prize. My word of advice, in addition to avoiding looking at the screen 1 to 2 hours before going to sleep, try to keep the mobile phone away from you where you sleep. This also would protect you from the harmful electromagnetic radiation that is emitted from the mobile phones. Ensure that you wind down your day in a calm and natural manner, allowing the brain to settle down, not exposing it to any kind of artificial light before going off to sleep. And sleep in a dark room. In another video, we shall discuss about the impact of excessive addiction to the mobile phone and how it impacts our ability to focus on a particular subject for a long period of time. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel and share it with your family and friends. And do remember to turn off all screens at least 1 to 2 hours before you go off to sleep. Thank you very much.